Now, moving lastly on to the final unlockable party member, which is Cid Highwind, depending on what order you kind of unlock Vincent and Yuffie in. But this is another interesting case where you have two archetypes working in close proximity. Barrett is a volatile, foul-tempered older guy, and Cid is a volatile, foul-tempered older guy. So these two in close proximity was something of a dangerous game for the scenario writers, but at the same time I absolutely love Cid as a character, and the fact his anger is much less a result of self-loathing and guilt like Barrett, but rather it's quite literally the opposite, where he has succeeded in saving someone's life. He's saved someone who was facing imminent death, and as a result of that he sacrificed his own hopes and dreams, which he's eternally kind of indignant about. So it's kind of hilarious, but also somewhat endearing that Cid's anger is aimed at his own fundamental goodness. In terms of story, Cid is representative of the classic Final Fantasy Cid character, which is to say he's the purveyor of aircraft and introduces us both to the tiny Bronco and later the Highwind airship, which we traverse the globe with. Like most other party members, Cid has suffered at the hands of Shinra. His dreams of travelling into space are kind of scuppered at the last minute and never again considered by the company, and Cid has become really quite embittered by this. And when we encounter him in the game, he's literally on the cusp of a one-man rebellion because his hopes are once again let down by Rufus Shinra, who he thinks is coming to visit him to, reignite the space program, but he's really just trying to commandeer the tiny Bronco to get to the promised land. So Cid is the final necessary character that we obtain, and his introduction to water transport ushers us into the keystone story arc and the final segment of Disc 1. His narrative scenario is somewhat abrupt in that after a short flashback scenario we go on to fight Palmer and we escape. So unlike Barrett or Red 13, there's no real wrestling with the past that has to be done here, and saying that, the eventual launch of the rocket and the venture into space is a brilliant moment of closure for Cid because his dreams are finally realised. But another thing I also really like later on is that his savvy kind of leadership is briefly realised also when he takes over the party temporarily while Cloud is in his vegetative state. I feel that was like a really great part of the game. I wish it kind of went on a bit longer, particularly when we get to do snowboarding as Cid, which is awesome.